Hey guys, how are we doing today?
Good.
Yeah, excited to be here. So this is my first time in Houston. I'm from Boston. Thank you so much. This past month, my company's actually headquartered in Dallas. So Hitachi Limited is from Japan, but our US headquarters is in Santa Clara, and then my specific company is out of Dallas. And this month I have come to Dallas, Austin, Houston, and then next Monday I'm in Dallas again. So I never thought about Texas, and now I get to see all the awesome cities that you guys have to offer. So thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. As Cindy said, I met Hello Kindred a year ago when I joined Hitachi, and they actually work with quite a few of our other partners and other group companies, and it's been awesome to work with them. So they're one of my invaluable partners. And as I talk through my presentation around lean leadership, one of the ways that I am executing lean leadership with a tight budget is because I have invaluable partners like Hello Kindred working with me and really helping me dial up a lot of the skill sets that I may not have within the team or the experiences. They're enabling me to do that. And so Cindy talked about, the case study program, right? Everybody knows, like, every salesperson, when they go into a meeting, it's like, show me where you've done this before. And a case study is so important. And Hello Kindred's team have really come in and helped build a case study program for me, from like, right the beginning, organizing the case studies, creating brand new case studies for me, writing the content, amplifying it, full end to end. So I cannot speak any more highly of Hello Kindred. This is not something they asked me to do. I just, when I'm really passionate about the community I work with, I consider them my extended family. And a lot of everything actually that I'm going to be talking about today, I'm actually living. Hitachi, we just started our new fiscal year under our new CEO, Tokunaga-san. He has a lot of deep domain expertise in digital systems services. And so he's our new CEO, which is fantastic. And, under that new leadership, we started our fiscal year on April 1st. So we're actually just starting our quarter one. And I, got my budget, and it was cut drastically. Not just mine, like everybody's budget was cut across the board, right? So everything that I'm going to talk to you about today is something that I'm living right now, and so this is not like pie in the sky. It's actually what I'm doing today. So with that, I'm just excited to be here because I know all of you are really sharp, forward-thinking marketing leaders and CMOs. And for me, over the years, as Cindy said, I've had the fortunate of working at some of the most world recognizable brands, such as LinkedIn, Amazon Web Services, Dell, and now at Hitachi. And I've seen marketing can do more than to shape perception. It can also really drive performance. And here's what I've come to learn. Impact doesn't come from having more. It comes from doing more with clarity, with constraint, and with purpose. That's the belief that has led me to lean leadership. A mindset build for modern day CMOs and marketing leaders like all of you. We're all navigating constant change, tight resources, and sky-high expectations. So let me start with a question for all of us that's been guiding how I lead. Can CMOs do more with less and still fuel growth? How many of you believe that? Raise your hand, please. Yes, okay, that's really good, because that's the challenge we are all facing. More pressure, more complexity, and fewer resources. But for those of us in B2B, especially enterprise tech, this is not a new story for us, right? In fact, this reminds me of a mindset that I grew up with. My family is from Sri Lanka, and it's a familiar word. It's called Jugad, and it means turning limits into levers. Building smart with what you got and refusing to wait for perfect conditions. That's the heart of lean leadership. It's not just a strategy. It's a mindset, it's a mandate for how we need to lead in 2025 and beyond. So let's talk about the world we're living in today. There's a lot more complexity, fewer resources, and the stakes are really high. There are economic pressures with tighter budgets and more scrutiny on ROI. Second, there's tech acceleration with AI and MarTech outpacing team readiness. Third, there's also customer expectations with always-on relevance and real-time personalization. And finally, there are talent challenges with leaner teams, broader skills, and growing burnout risk. We are in the perfect storm, with shrinking resources, higher expectations, and accelerating change. We are literally in a pressure cooker where we have to lead, right? How many of you guys agree with that? Do you guys feel that? I see a lot of nodding heads, right? Yeah. So what is lean leadership? At its core, it's a model built for high pressure and resource-constrained environments, just like the ones that we all agree that we're living in and leading in today. It's not about doing everything. Remember that. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things faster, smarter, and with intention. Lean leadership is how we lead when the margin of error is really thin, the stakes are high, and the need for clarity is urgent. Lean leadership is built on 3 interdependent pillars. First, agility. Now, it's not about speed, it's about responsiveness, the ability to shift, reallocate resources, and adapt on the fly. Second, budget innovation. This is where constraint becomes creative fuel. It's about finding new ways to drive impact and work with what you already have and making less go further. And finally, human-centric strategy. Because in the end, leadership is about people. This means leading with empathy, transparency, and purpose, not ego. The spirit behind all of this comes from Jugad, turning limits into levers, using ingenuity and bold decisions. This is how CMOs and marketing leaders like all of us scale smarter, act faster, and lead more clearly, even when the future feels uncertain. Let's talk about the first pillar, which is agility. I'm not talking about reactive or chaotic. I'm talking about systems built for speed, where structure enables rapid movement. When I was at Amazon Web Services, we learned to move fast without sacrificing scale. Speed wasn't reckless. It was orchestrated intentionally. We stood up new solutions in weeks, not in quarters. We tested messaging in real time across geographies. And we adapted our go-to-market strategies alongside our customers' needs. That's what agility looks like when you practice it. Not reacting, but adapting with purpose and precision. This is the key. Agility is not chaos. It's coordinated clarity. It's knowing where you're headed and giving your teams the frameworks to get there fast. True agility isn't about doing everything, and I keep saying that. It's not about doing everything. It's about focusing on what matters, moving quickly, and learning as you go. It's a mindset. It's a muscle that today's CMOs and marketing leaders must build and flex daily. Let's move to the second pillar of lean leadership, budget innovation. And let's be clear, Lean marketing does not mean low budget marketing. It's high impact marketing designed for efficiency and outcome, not excess. At Dell, we didn't reinvent the wheel at every touch point. We repurposed thought leadership across internal, partner, and digital channels, extending value without multiplying spend. At LinkedIn, the most effective programs often started as small pilots, a single webinar, a panel, a strong point of view, and that spark became a full-blown content ecosystem. The constraints wasn't the barrier, it was the blueprint. Here's the real mindset shift. What if constraint wasn't the limitation, but the strategy? Let me read that again. What if constraint wasn't the limitation, but the strategy? When asked, how would you build this with 20% of the budget? We didn't just cut back, we built smarter, we focused harder. Constraints forces prioritization. It unlocks clarity. And in many of the best programs I've seen, constraints are where the most innovative ideas are born. Let's move to the third pillar, human-centric in an AI world. You guys all know AI isn't optional anymore. It's now central to how we plan, how we operate, and how we grow. As CMO, I've seen how AI changes everything, not just how we market, but even how we work. At Hitachi Digital Services, AI isn't a tech experiment. It's being embedded into our day-to-day, helping us understand customers more deeply, generating smarter content, enabling real-time collaboration. But here's the thing, AI doesn't build trust. People do. That's why AI investments are matched with purpose-driven storytelling, showing not just what the tech does, but why it matters. For us, it matters for our patients, for our energy systems, for our frontline communities. That's what keeps AI grounded in impact. Still, I see too many organizations treating AI like a tool, not a strategy. Here are 3 red flags to watch out for. First, AI embeds into AI teams sit in isolation. They are buried in labs or under IT, disconnected from the business. All you get are polished demos, but not results. Second, success is measured by pilots, not production. Proof of concepts are easy. Deploying at scale, that's where it gets real. It takes integration, data readiness, serious change management. And third, tools are expected to work on their own. They won't. Co-pilots and agents need human judgment, oversight, and intentional design. So here's the bottom line. AI is not a magic fix. It's not something that you bolt on and expect transformation. It's a shift in how we lead, how we structure teams, measure success, and build for the future. The organizations seeing real results aren't chasing the newest tools. They're embedding AI into their execution, into actual workflows, systems, and decisions that move the business forward. And they're doing it with intention. AI-powered, human first. That's how we move forward together. So what does this mean to lead lean? It's about expanding the role of the CMO and marketing leaders beyond the traditional barriers. You are just not marketers. You are visionaries. You are operators. You are people-first tech strategists. You lead with agility. You push innovation within constraints, and you ground every decision in impact and empathy. And most importantly, you bring the mindset of Jew God. You solve creatively, you act decisively, and you build forward and with purpose. This is the moment to lead with clarity, to move with a purpose, to build what's next. Lean leadership isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters most. Cut through the noise, act with clarity, and deliver impact fast. Because the truth is, AI is accelerating, budgets are tightening, expectations are only rising. This is our moment. The opportunity is to lead with less, but to lead better with focus, bold, and ready. So let's keep building together. Thank you. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm happy to take any questions. And everything I just talked about, as I mentioned at the start, is exactly what I'm doing at Hitachi Digital Services. Yes?
Have your restraints been more than just financial? Have they been team members, size of teams, collaboration, those types of limitations?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, in full transparency, I have a 10-person marketing team. And within my team, I don't, for example, I don't have an expert, like I said, in case study building. So I have built, my team is small but mighty, and then I've built a strong, I like to call them my extended family. So Hello Kindred is one of my extended family members that has helped me build a case study program end to end. And they're helping me not only build the program, but actually build each case study and then help me amplify it, right? And that's the true partnership they bring. Recently, as I think Cindy mentioned, right, my company, Hitachi, has obviously been around for 100+ years. Hitachi Digital Services, we are a global systems integrator, powering mission-critical platforms and bridging the gap between IT and OT. And so for us, we are about truly a standalone company for the last 2 years. So we're really a startup company within the Hitachi ecosystem. So for us, it's about building a lot of things from scratch. So as you go on to my LinkedIn or you go into our company, you'll start to see that I had to build the brand. Like, who are we? Who's Hitachi Digital Services? Because everybody knows Hitachi as like a manufacturer or air conditioning. Wherever you are in the world, you have a different connotation of who Hitachi is, and then who's Hitachi Digital Services? What do we do? So I have another partner in leadership. And I don't have anybody on my team that does brand work. So I had to bring that brand work, that expertise into my team. So I partnered with a company called Ladyship. They're a 2-person brand company, 2 women. And so they helped me build my brand from everything from the strategic narrative, the messaging toolkit, to the visual identity. So, and they're still sort of my fractional brand leaders. So in my team too, again, my team is fantastic. I love them. But I don't have any, it's myself, and then there's no directors between myself as the chief marketing officer and the rest of my team. So my extended family that I bring in as fractional players, they tend to be directors. So again, I don't have the budget to hire full-time talent. So by bringing in the expertise of Hello Kindred, of Ladyship, I'm also working with a company called 2X, which is a marketing as a service company. And they're helping me with marketing operations, and I have a team out of the Philippines that I work with on marketing operations, because I had to build my full marketing tech stack from ground up, right? I just implemented HubSpot in the last year, but again, I don't have the expertise within my team to do that, so I've gone and worked with other companies across the regions to help me bring in that expertise and that real-time investment. So, you know, everything that I mentioned here, it is one of those things that I'm actually practicing day in and day out. And my team, they bring the expertise of the Hitachi wherewithal, the culture, the how to get things done. And then the external partners and extended family, they really bring in sort of that finite expertise that I'm looking for. So that's how I've built and grown my marketing team in the last year. So hopefully that addresses your question. Yeah. Yes.
So I do want to say, as someone who's just starting out in marketing leadership, I really appreciate the fact that you're very open about, where you need assistance and being able to pull on other people. I think the idea from people who aren't in leadership and marketing is that the person who is the CMO, y'all have all the answers, y'all do all the things.
No.
Right? And so it's good to hear that. But my question was that because you had those budget changes, how do you communicate that to your team? Or is that something that you try to avoid having in conversation with your team when you're facing those budget challenges?
Okay, when my budget reduced, how did I communicate that to my team? Absolutely, I'm 100% very transparent with my team. So they saw the reduction from last year to this year. They see every line item of what happens. The only line item they don't see is my head count. But outside of the head count, they do see every single line item. And that's where I talk to them about, we have these initially, and I'll be really honest with you, when I got my budget and I knew that everybody got cut across, I'm part of the executive team at Hitachi Digital Services, so I knew that my other colleagues as well had gotten budget cuts too, so it wasn't just a marketing thing, right? And first when I got it, I was like, that sucks. But then I was just like, wow, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to lean leadership, right? Constraints there's the fuel for creativity, right? This is part of my blueprint. I don't see it as a barrier. And that's exactly what I told my team. Because we're all gonna move on and find the next job. And when you go to those interviews, nobody's like, yeah, I had $1 billion and then I went off and did all these things, right? Everybody wants to hear, the CEO of your next company wants to hear, how did you take, your $1 million budget and how did you stretch that? That's where innovation comes in, right? So I think this is such a great opportunity for me as a leader, but I also think it's such a great opportunity for my team who are quite young. They're gonna move on to do other things as well. And so I want them to be prepared for those moments where they can go, okay, my budget is just I only have $70,000 to do this customer event. It's our marquee event. We went from $200-something thousand to $70,000 to do that event. So how do we do it? And it goes back to, well, why are we even doing this customer event? What is the purpose of it, right? Its purpose is to drive more relationships, to grow our existing wallet share, to bring in new prospects and acquire net new logos, right? So really being able to go, if that's what our goal is of this customer event, for example, then my event team, it's how are we going to make this more creative? Maybe instead of doing one big event, we're going to do smaller road shows across the cities where our customers are at and do more intimate settings. And, so that it gives the opportunity for our sales team to have those more intimate conversations and build those relationships. So we are trying to think creatively in that sense. Even with the reduced budget that I have, I'm kind of also pushing my team to say, okay, you have $70,000 for the event, but what happens if we cut it by 20%? Now, can you go and think more on how we would do this event, right? So I think it's just, it really gives you grit. It really gives you strength. But I think in the end, if I can come out of this fiscal year and say, here are all the things we delivered and report on that back to my board and to my peers in the executive committee, I think that they're just gonna be really impressed, But I will tell you this though, I'm okay, if I can make this smaller budget work, next year, am I gonna get an even smaller budget? Right. Which I hope not.
These are follow-up questions. If you do it, then it's kind of okay, well, if you can do that, then we can.
Yeah, then we can just knock it down, to keep chopping it down. So no, I hope that's not the case, but we're gonna live and learn, right? But I don't wanna keep going back. This past year, even when I had a bigger budget, they did cut it a little bit, and I underspent by $200K, and I was able to then move it forward. So I'm always looking to figure out, and even within my small budget, I do have have emergency funds, right? I mean, I really do treat this budget like it's my own bank account. So I do have emergency funds, I do have backup funds, and I also am very transparent with partners like Hello Kindred as well. They see the budget that I have, they understand with what I'm working with, and so it's not only my core marketing team, but then I also partners like Hello Kindred. They are, they work with me to be really creative on like how we can do the things we can do. Like, so for example, with Hello Kindred, some of the team members that I work with, they're out of like South Africa. They're out of other regions where obviously the cost savings is there. So I do work with people like that. And that's how like even my extended family members, they're really helping me think differently about doing things. But they also, one of the things that my team does and Hello Kindred does as well is they build me up in a way, and the frameworks that they give me and templates they give me is like, now you can take it and give it to your team. You do not always need Hello Kindred by your side, right? We are here setting you up, giving you the template, and so your team now can go and take it and move it forward, right? So that's what I really like about, like, when you find your partners, they really do, I mean, they're not there to like suck all your money away from you, but they're also there to like say, hey, we want to set you up for future successes, and that's the trust that you build with them. And then that gives me even more courage to talk about them in rooms where they don't even exist, right? And that's what we always want to do. We hear about this from women, like we always want other women to talk about us like in rooms where we are not present. And I do that same thing with our extended family members as well, just because like they helped me, and I want to spread that to my other peers within Hitachi. So hopefully that answered your question. Yes?
One more question and then we have to close out.
Okay.
I like how you frame the simultaneous pressures that marketing leadership have to endure these days. What do you see as some of the highest leverage use cases that leadership can leverage some of the new AI technology to relieve some of that pressure?
Yeah, some of the where we're spending on AI is mainly around really understanding our customers is really a use case where I've spent a lot of time leaning into. And then secondly, it's also, because once you understand your customers in a deeper manner, then everything else makes sense. It's not about the excess. It's not about you doing everything, right? Understanding your customers and really enable you to hone in on the one or two things that you can do really well, right? And that's where your budget goes. By the way, I also tell my CEO and executive team peers as well as like, here's the things that I can do, and I'm gonna do those amazingly. These are the 5 things or the 3 things I'm gonna do. But here's also the rest of the things I'm not gonna be able to do with this budget too. And I set that out really clearly from the get-go. So even my sales leadership team, right, they see my budget very transparently. So when they're like, I'm in a world where events is really big, right? And I'm like, I don't have the budget to do that event, or I can do that event, but then I need to swap it out for something else that I'm doing for you. So it is that negotiation, but it's looking at, I leverage AI to look at customers and understand them deeply. And then the other thing I do is content creation, creating the right type of content, because creating that right type of content ecosystem, then I can deploy it against various brand and demand generation campaigns as well, to drive awareness, to drive through the funnel the various campaigns that I need to do as well. And then we're going to be starting to use AI also to deploy campaigns as well, and getting the understanding better the ROI in it and how we change the go-to-market campaigns that we do.